Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big development in Rostermania going down last night, especially with what may or may not be happening with Ye after a couple of very dramatic seasons. After the Optic days ended, the Cloud9 days very briefly began, then he went to DSG, then he was on Bleed. Now that is no longer the case, and he's looking for new opportunities elsewhere in the world, apparently on the Sentinel role. That is being considered, and Evil Genius is apparently the first organisation to throw their hat in the ring and give him a trial for the upcoming season. Will this go anywhere? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I greatly appreciate it. First of all, these are the developments over on Ascension. Rare Atom dominated Ambitious Legend Gaming last night. They 2-0'd them in about 30 minutes. Haven was 13-3. Sunset was 13-1. Ugly. And yeah, this was over in a heartbeat. However, as things are continuing, it's currently 1-1 in the upper finals to determine which of these two teams will make it through to the grand final. As it stands, it was 13-5 to Rare Atom on their own bind. They lost the Sunset though 13-10. The Ascent is just about to get underway. So pretty fascinating stuff in that Chinese region, of course, to determine which team is going to make it through. Both teams, of course, with a couple of players outside of China and Taiwan. So no, champion is going to be crowned today, but the winner of this, of course, becomes the heavy favourites to win the entire thing. The same thing in the Americas, but this was a major development yesterday on the Americas playoffs, right? Because M80, they dominated the group stage 5-0, very impressive. They weren't like dominant in any series, but they played well enough and it seemed like they were getting better and better. All night they took down Glories as well. This Abyss or this Bind, wasn't it? It was rough because they were up, well, I mean, have a look at this. They lost 8 in a row to go to overtime up 12-4, and then they lost the overtime ones as well. So that's a rough way to lose the series, and these guys just have no bottle, do they? Unfortunately, it's tough to witness, but it is what it is. M80 though, they go down to 2-game esports. This was a big surprise, right? Because M80, they were expected to come in here, get a nice 2-0 dub, get over the line, but this was, I mean, a comfortable victory. 13-8, 13-7 for 2-game esports. So, the M80 boys just did not turn up in a series which is pretty damn important to turn up. So it's not over yet for them. But the fact that they're now going down 0-2, they play Glories in the lower round 1, and then we'll see if they can make it back all the way to the grand finals and potentially still win it. But yeah, not the time to have a poor performance. And also it does raise questions, right, for the likes of, let's say, Xander, because these guys are always going to be in consideration for a franchise team. And yes, Xander had a pretty terrible series here, but given his history and his tenure with some of the guys on the Sentinels organization, there are rumors that if M80 don't qualify, that they will just snap up Xander in a heartbeat and bring him straight into their roster. And that, I actually get it. I do get it on a high level. There was a further response actually from SK Rossi as well. We saw yesterday his, deep and very understandable frustration for eating beef when he wasn't intending to, because he was served beef, while a lot of the Hindu players at the Jakarta Ascension tournament made it very clear that, we're not eating that, so don't serve it to us. And look, SK Rossi basically said that he was super frustrated at the time, and understandably, and he says, I could have handled this more maturely, but praying with guilt now is hard. God will forgive me for a mistake. I don't want to ruin the career of whoever it was that was responsible. So there was some debate on this, really, wasn't there? Because, obviously someone made a mistake somewhere, and, there's an argument that, well, that player should pay with their job, or that individual should pay with their job, right, for, making this mistake. But as SK Rossi says, I don't find joy in ruining someone else's job or career, destroying their mental, as I know how hard that is to deal with, right? So, I imagine that they should probably investigate what's happened there, Riot, how this is possible. But, in terms of, like, further serious repercussions, maybe that shouldn't be the case anyway, right? So interested to your thoughts in the comments. Benkai, PaperX legend, global esports legend, and he is now looking for a team, but also potential assistant coaching roles, and would like to dip his toes into that as well. So yeah, wishing him the best going forwards, but pretty exciting, I would say, for Benkai to see if he can get back somewhere in a team, either as a player or as an assistant coach. But let's talk about what is going on with some of these rosters, right? TenZ retired not that long ago, just a few days. He also made his comment on Abyss that he's not particularly happy with it, right? And I will kind of agree with TenZ that, in my opinion, the maps that they've introduced recently have not been the best, I wouldn't say exactly, but are arguably getting like worse and worse. Like, I still believe the best maps in Valorant are pretty much the ones they dropped with the game. The ones they've dropped over the last couple of years, Fracture I actually don't mind, and that of course is kind of in and out of the game right now. They're working on some changes potentially to Split, although it doesn't seem like they're probably going to change much on that front. Sunset's okay. Pearl I'm never a big fan of really, and you know, Lotus I guess is fine as well, but again, I'm not massively impressed by the recent maps they've come up with, and apparently, well, TenZ at least reckons it is just the worst that they've done ever, and not even just in Valorant, but in any game. And as Asuna says, hard agree, hard vouch. So yeah, it doesn't seem like 100T, if Asuna stays on there, are going to be doing much with that map for next season. It also was pretty funny that it was mentioned yesterday on the Spike Talk podcast that, so Josh Chartiz, of course, over there at G2, we know the drama with Lothar, who was very frustrated at the unsportsmanlike behavior of jumping off the map on Abyss to give, you know, a free round to the opposition, but of course take away the possibility for all points and all this stuff. And Josh Artiz actually said that he got that idea from Lothar. Lothar had mentioned it on stream when he was first playing the, you know, the public beta environment, right? That, well, what if you jumped off? Could that be beneficial? And he was watching Josh and he wrote it down and did the calculations, and he decided, you know what, actually, yeah, probably is worth it. It's funny that he says that when G2 actually did that, he didn't intend for them to do it. Like, his opinion was, we should go for the round, we should try and do some damage. But because they'd been doing it in scrims, and it had been working, that's what they did. So I thought that was very entertaining. But let's talk about some roster drama, right? Because Rocket Bullets drops his latest spreadsheet, and there's a couple of things to say. Firstly, EMEA, few interesting developments. Kudjak has been linked to Fnatic. So Apex, of course, they qualified. But Kudjak has been one of these players who's been in that conversation now for several months as to getting a top opportunity, and Fnatic need a Durka replacement. That's someone they're looking at. They're also looking at a Turkish player called Elite, it seems. KOI, it's now looking like Flyer is potentially the more likely eye-gelling option, because Sadak, I think, was briefly linked over there, but, you know, who knows about that, really. Defo as well, potentially doing a trial, so that's kind of interesting to see that name back in the conversation. But what about the Americas? Because this is what we see here. Sadak, it seems, is near on a done deal with Crew. Nosrat potentially to Crew alongside Sadak might make some degree of sense as well. The only other major changes, though, arriving for Evil Geniuses, and this has been a big talking point where some of these guys might look to go. So Jorgamo, of course, is potentially going to go to Sentinels. That's been one of the rumours. He might go to G2, he might go somewhere else. He was even linked, I think, briefly to Leviathan, potentially, Jorgamo, although seemingly not anymore. But if Jorgamo goes from EG, maybe Apoth is going to go. Rumour has it that maybe Nature, Derek, Superman, they may stay or they may go. But they are seemingly open to absolutely any possibilities, because these are some of the names they're trialing. Okonos, Sim, IC is an interesting one, of course, because G2 are probably looking for an IC replacement. The rumour has it that Jonah P, Trent Valen and Leaf probably stay, and they're looking at, you know, maybe a Durka, maybe a Jorgamo, maybe somebody else to replace IC. Of course, Oxy would be another candidate if they can get him off Cloud9, which maybe they can, maybe they can't. Not too many developments there over the last few days. But, you know, IC potentially, if he does go from G2, who I honestly thought did a pretty solid job and improved, I think, slowly over the course of his time being on the team, is potentially linked to EG, as is Ye. And this is potentially the big one here, because we have been wondering, will Ye return, or where may he return? And after his difficult time over the last couple of seasons, and he made it clear the other day that he was returning, he said on stream, like, he's back, basically, and he's feeling better, more confident, and ready to go again, and ideally in the Americas, because they pay more money than the other regions, unless you're called Bleed Esports, effectively. So, and that's why people are saying, wow, Ye trial, he's finally here. What role is he playing? And apparently, it's on the Sentinel that he's trialing as for these teams, and potentially EG for now. There were rumours that he was linked elsewhere a while ago, but yeah, now seems like Evil Geniuses could be the destination if things go well for the trials over there. It's just been quite a fascinating time, and the funny thing that this reminded me of, I couldn't find the exact clip, but I know that it was in one of my videos a couple of years ago. But Ye was talking after 2022 going into 2023 where he was going to go. There was talk about 100T, there was talk about Sentinels maybe, there was talk of course eventually he goes to Cloud9, but at the time, and there still are, only a handful of American organizations, North American organizations, and Evil Geniuses were considered to be by far the weakest. And at the time I remember Ye said in a clip that oh well, like, you know, obviously I'm not going to go to EG, I'm going to choose one of the other offers, which of course was absolutely fair enough and justified. But it would be interesting if a couple of years down the line EG are like, you know, the only org left that want him on the team. Maybe they don't, maybe he's not even trialing there, we don't really know. But you know, that is the latest rumor that Ye to Evil Geniuses is an option, right? 18 months or so after the Cloud9 drama happened and he was let go, has his time on DSG, has his time on Bleed that didn't end especially well, but I think everyone knows that Ye has still got the talent, and you know, if he can execute on that talent and his mental game is strong and he joins a team that he feels confident can be successful, then I think Ye could be back to some serious form, especially with the chamber buff that recently happened. Maybe that is another reason to believe that Ye could do some serious damage to a roster. So intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Just one final thing I thought was kind of interesting, because we were discussing the other day what's happening with Gentle Mates. Is Kadavra staying? What's going on there? Is Scream going to come in? And Rocket actually says, people I talked to said it's unlikely. Scream talked about it on stream intentionally to misdirect people. So, you know, interesting stuff. Obviously, we've got to take all this stuff with a grain of salt. Rocket Bullets has not been the most accurate, but look, it is interesting nonetheless to think about. And as I said before, it's likely that he'll be somewhat more diligent with his sourcing now, and therefore, yeah, seemingly has been in some trials over the last couple of days. Whether he ends up anywhere, that of course is still a matter for debate. But very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.